Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video, and today we have another deck list for the third set of the My Hero Academia card game. Today we're going to be using the Death Arms leader. It is one of the promo cards from one of the quirk packs from the box toppers, and this is a really interesting leader for a couple reasons. I really do like Death in general, and just the idea of being able to interact with our opponent's foundations and making it very hard for them to do anything, because everything they do is either tapped out or it's just hard to do, and one bad check kind of just ends their turn, which feels really good. So we are doing something I feel like a little bit different. We're playing it on Earth. As much as I do like Death on it, you normally just kind of run out of foundations to use yourself. And so instead, we are using Earth to build foundations very easily, like it does. And then from there, using the abilities to stun or commit or just get rid of our opponent's foundations for the just to help us out there. So that's just the idea of the list. And so if you don't know how this Death Arms character works, it is a 6-hander with 29. We are, again, running it on Earth. And then enhance your attack with a printed difficulty of 5 or greater, gets +1 speed and +2 damage. So that's actually pretty good for what it is. And then also response commit, destroy 1 foundation after your rival's ready step, commit 2 of their foundations. So you have to obviously destroy one of your own foundations, but if you do, you get to commit 2 of your rival's foundations for the turn. You get to choose which ones they are, which are really nice, and there's some good targets for it. So I do like that idea for the guy. And so obviously it's a very Death kind of thing, but again, when I played it on Death, I just felt like I ran out of foundations. I was on like 3 foundations for most of the game, and it just never was worth it. So I went with Earth, and I really enjoyed it. So going through our foundations first, we are starting with 3 copies of Proud Scion. So this is a response commit after your rival's start phase. Commit one of their foundations with an ability that grants a speed bonus or penalty. So it's honestly just an extension of this. So it just lets you get some additional bonuses for lets you commit 3 on your opponent at the start of their turn, which is quite good. It is a little specific on which this can hit, which it kind of stinks a little bit, but there is something. And also deadlock response flip after your rival plays an ability on non-character card in their stage, cancel it and flip that card. So that is kind of nice there too, especially since if your opponent wants to try to do stuff, they will have to kind of hit deadlock, because we just have so many ways to stun and affect their foundations, which is nice. Next up, we do have final exam failures, and this is like the deathiest Earth card that there is. So enhance your attack, flip your rival makes a check against a difficulty of 6. If they fail, they destroy 1 ready foundation. So this pretty much just says either destroy one of our opponent's foundations or have them stun 1 most of the time, which is pretty good. It just means that by flipping this, we guarantee that our opponent can't, gets rid of or stuns 1 again, or gets rid of one of their foundations, which is good. So I like this, and then it's just handy for us there. And then we do also have 2 copies of Watching from a Distance. And I don't know, I bounce between 5 of these, of the Watching the Distance and the Proud Scion. And I have a 2-3 split as it is, but it could be 2-3 in the other way. But just enhance commit, discard 1 momentum, commit 1 rival asset or foundation, only playable if there's no cards in your rival's card pool. So just the idea of like saying, okay, so our first attack, we go this, we use the commit and discard a momentum, which is a little costly in this deck because we don't have a lot of attacks that hit, but we do have some. We get to stun something. We get to choose which foundation it is, and then we can kind of go from there, which is kind of nice. So I think it's fine. Both of them I think are good for how we build this deck, and that's just the idea there. Going on, we do have 3 copies of Faith Shield. Spoilers, we're playing an Earth deck, so we're probably playing this, and maybe we'll be playing a copy or 2 of Creeping Vine Eruption, who's to say, but that is it there. And then 2 copies of New Training Method as well. And this is, if you guys haven't already left the video and checked the deck list I put in the description, this is a very, very tight list, and it's very tight to 50 cards. And there's a really good reason for it, and it's just because we need there's not honestly a lot of good cards for this deck, and so we kind of have to see some of the good ones. So New Training at 2 is one of the cards there. If you want to pump it up to 3, go for it. I don't think it's a bad idea for it, because obviously building stuff is good. And then also the response commit to check a foundation to add to your hand is good too, especially since then we commit and then we get rid of it with our character ability, and we go from there. We also do have 4 copies of Male Bonding. This is one of my favorite cards from this set. It's just solid. You're just being able to flip after you take damage from an unblocked attack, put the top card of your deck face down. Easy. It just means that when your opponent's being aggressive, you not only you just gain advantage from your opponent trying to be aggressive. So I do like that there. And then 4 copies of the Chivalrous Competitor, being able to just says enhance, flip both both players draw 1 card. And that's honestly really important for us, as we'll see in a little bit, that drawing 1 card does kind of turn on some abilities for us. So I do like that there. Also, response before one of your foundations would be destroyed or flipped to your rival's non-character effect. Flip this foundation instead. So this could come up too. We don't run a lot of foundations, so if there are some ways that our opponent is trying to destroy some of our foundations, we can just flip this instead, and that will help us there. So both effects, I think, are good for us there. 2 copies of Manly Passionate Guy. We don't have a lot that we're going to be blocking with, but I did feel like we wanted to put 2 in there. 4 copies of It Can't Be Fixed, because this card is it's so broken, and then 2 copies of Internship with Best Genist here. So on an Earth response, discard the top card of your deck. After you play this card, your rival flips 1 foundation. So we do have a lot of like foundation hate in this deck too. So your opponent having to flip 1 foundation can be kind of impactful too, which I like there. All right, that is it for the foundations. We have 30 foundations in here. I'm telling you, this is a tight list for a good reason as well, but it is a very, very tight list. And then going into our attacks, we are running 4 copies of Death Arms Wallop, the character attack here. So charge, powerful 2, punch. Enhance this attack gets +1 speed for each momentum you've discarded during this enhanced step. So this could be off as its own powerful 2. This could be off of the effect of the watching from a distance. So like one of the good reasons to discard momentum is to use this. And then also enhance, flip 1 committed rival foundation. We get to choose what it is too. So the idea is that you use this to commit something, and then our next turn we attack with this, and then we use the effect to flip the thing we want to get rid of. So I think that all works kind of nicely there. Just some strong kind of removal in the sense, at least, of getting rid of some of our opponent's foundations that we're a little bit afraid of. And it's just a solid card. And so being able to get the +1 speed as well. So this is obviously a 5 low for 4. It becomes a 6 low for 6 just off of our character as well. And then with 1 momentum, it becomes a 7 low for 8, which is good. And you can just kind of enhance it from there. So this is a really good this is just good at any stage of the game. I think it's a really solid attack for this character. Next up, we do have Brutish Swagger. So this is also another reason that we are really important, or like really depending on the Chivalrous Competitor to draw us a card. But just enhance, if this is the only card in your card pool, you get to draw 1, which is nice. And then enhance, if you've drawn 2 or more cards this combat phase, this attack gets stunned 2. So the idea of this deck always is to just stun our opponent out, make it so they can't really do anything. So they can't build, they can't attack, and then they also can't block our attacks, right? If they don't have any foundations, they really can't do anything. So this helps us here. Obviously, it becomes a 5 mid for 8 with just our character here, and then 5 speed when your opponent is essentially committed out with stun. With our leader effect means that they're going to have a hard time blocking this, which is really nice. And so the other way that we get the card draw here, we do have some ready, set, go as well. So it's not that just this, but honestly, just playing this as our first attack and say draw 1 in a 6-hander with not a lot of draw in the first place, I think is fine as well. So, but then obviously it has a really good synergy with our competitor. Once again, we flip this and then we draw a second card, and then we get stun 2 and wreck our opponent from there. So that is there. And then our next attack is Back Alley Haymaker. How could you not run this card? It is so good. It does everything that we need it to do in so many ways. It says stun 2. It says enhance, draw 1 or build 1 foundation. Both are great. We have a couple of 0 foundations that we'd want, especially since we can just build Internship with Best Genist, and then we can pop it with Death Arms at the end of the turn, and then we get it back. Like, we can just get some free cycle off this. It's very good. Like, foundation cycle, it just means that we get a free card to pop with our Death Arms every turn, and that's good in its own right. So it's again very, very strong. I love this card, and a lot of people hate it, and I know why, because it's very, very good. And then our last attack, we're only running 16 attacks because again we're only running 50 cards, is the Creeping Vine Eruption. So this also is a 5 difficulty, so this becomes a 3 low for 7, and then if our opponent still half blocks it or throw blocks it, or however you want to say it, it's going to do 4 damage, which still means we do get a copy of our Faith Shield, which is good enough for me. So I think that's solid in its own right as well. Having a throw to be able to get some momentum guaranteed for our copies of the, wait for it, watching from a distance, for our Backlady Haymaker EX2, for our Death Arms Wallop, for their Powerful 2, which also is a EX1 technically at the same time. Just guaranteed momentum is strong in this too. So I like adding this and just minimal card draw. I know it doesn't technically draw a card, but the fact that it adds a card to our hand when we don't have a lot of cycle, I think is good there as well. And then lastly, I did spoil it. We do have 4 copies of Ready, Set, Go. This is just good offensively and defensively. Response after your opponent plays their 4th foundation for the turn, build up to 2 foundations from your hand. So if we are going second and we have this in our hand, our opponent's just building off, easy. Or if we have a Brutish in our hand, it does also say remove, draw 1 card. So we play this, we draw a card, and we play this. We draw a second card, and then we stun 2. So all that, I think, is good enough too, and it's somewhat consistent. Again, we're only running 50 cards in this build, so it's very consistent on seeing our pieces. We don't have a lot of, honestly, good synergy cards in the first place, so we go over with, get around it by saying, here's the smallest deck that we can make. Just put all the cards that kind of have the thing that we want to do with it and just see what happens. So honestly, I thought this deck was going to be pretty janky, and it is a little bit, don't get me wrong, but there are some just good things. And if your opponent can't really get around all of the ways that we can commit their stuff and stun their stuff, and pretty much like every attack that we do will go in, because it's going to be very hard for our opponent to defend, especially like if our opponent is feeling like they want to go in and be aggressive with us and they hit like that just one too many bad checks, they're usually committed out, and then we just get free reign at kind of ending the game from there. So that is the list for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know which other set 3 characters, or just any character that you want in the game that you might want a set 3 rebuild for, and I will definitely consider it. So that's going to be it for me. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.